the top of my notes here says Chris Watts, dipshit, gross fucker. I just want to say this. First of all, cheaters are like scum of the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who choose to be in relationships with married men when they know that they are married because she knew that he was married,
right.
They're also gross.
Right.
Not as gross as, you know, the man who decides, or woman who decides to cheat in the first place. Not as gross as them, but still pretty gross.
Can I say something really, really, really funny?
Yes.
So when I found out that my ex was cheating on me, and the girl knew that he was married, guess what her name was?
Was it Nicole?
It was Nicole. I'm not even joking. My marriage ended because of a Nicole.
Oh, my God.
It just goes to show, you know, the age-old adage, you can't trust 2/3 of Nicole.
It's true.
I also wanted to say that I am seeing a lot of people go after Shanann because she was in an MLM. Those people are fucking weird. And if you're one of those people, who is, like, sharing videos of her, you know, talking about her products and being like, you were scamming people, go fuck yourself.
Tell me how you really feel.
You're fucking weird. Yeah, that's it.
There is a lot of bad rap around MLMs, and a lot of it is earned. A lot of that is very, you know, like I said, hey, I haven't talked to you in 5 years, but, you know, give me money. There is a lot of that. Regardless of that, this woman is dead.
Exactly.
So that's when you need to, regardless of what your opinion is, it's time you shut the fuck up about it. This woman is dead.
Exactly. And another thing, if you see videos of Shanann being in the MLM and you're like, oh, she was scamming people, and now you want to make a video about people who scam people, go find somebody who's alive. Go find somebody who can defend themselves. Right.
Pick a different target. You know, she's not the one.
Exactly.
It's that there are so many people who, you know, the hybristophiliacs who are going to be all about, well, Chris Watts is so hot, it has to be Shanann's fault. Sit down and take several seats. The first thing that I want to say before I forget to say it, explain to me why your argument, sir, that your wife would do something to your children while pregnant with another. If she was so mad at you and you know, was going to try and, you know, get rid of your kids, she was pregnant with another of your children. To sit here and say that in any conceivable universe, your wife would take the lives of her 2 children while pregnant with another one is frankly fucking pathetic. And obviously a lie. Obviously a lie. To sit here and say that your wife would do something to your children and that you then had to stop her, why'd you let her kill the kids first and then you strangled her? Especially when, like, from the standpoint of timing, you were in the home with your wife and those kids were alive. You didn't stumble upon those kids dead.
Because it takes a while to smother somebody. Usually it takes more time than it does to strangle somebody. And he said he saw it on the baby monitor. You saw it and you did nothing. And even if he was like, oh, I was on the other side of the house.
You run.
So you were...
Idiot.
Exactly. You run.
You saw it on the baby monitor, but it just so happened you caught it on the baby monitor with the second child, which is why by the time you got to Shanann and you were so angry at what she'd done to her daughter that you strangled her, the other one was already dead. You didn't notice it with the first one? You just
and you didn't hear anything?
Right. That's not a crime that's done quietly. The part that always I keep coming back to is what really makes me angry is it's, you know, all of it is terrible and tragic. So don't take this the wrong way, but your children. You looked your children in the eyes and you killed them. twice. You looked at these little babies and you slowly watched them die, and you didn't for a second think there's got to be another way. I have, zero respect for fathers who leave behind single mothers and just abandon and want nothing to do with their kids, but at least they walked away and gave those mothers a chance to give them a good life. You didn't even do that. From the standpoint of, I understand, like, people grow apart. If you so didn't want this other kid, there were other things you could have done than to wait 15 weeks. You could have divorced her. Sure, she didn't want it, and sure, she was upset and angry and what have you. To anyone who feels that way, to anyone whose significant other is having those conversations and saying, I don't want to be here, if they don't want to be here today, they're not going to want to be here tomorrow. They're not going to want to be here next year or 5 years down the line. And it sucks, and it hurts, and it's painful. But I will say the same advice that I was given when I walked in on my ex with his Nicole. If you give any hard thing 365 days, a single year, you will be in a whole new place and you will feel so much better. There are so many other ways to do things than to just destroy 4 lives. Technically, although we don't care about he's ruined 6 lives. More than that. His parents stood up in that courtroom and tried to defend his actions and tried to, we will still love you. I mean, parents unconditionally love their kids no matter what they do. The amount of lives, shit rolls downhill. And he is a piece of shit that rolled so far downhill, and he collected so much collateral damage that the mound of shit at the bottom of that hill, there's no way you can clean that mess up. The amount of lives that he destroyed because he didn't just simply say, I want a divorce, pack a suitcase, and go. You're not a respectful person regardless. You're still a piece of shit. But at least you could have been a piece of shit who still could have had the girl. He could be living, they could be married now. They could have their own kids. And Shanann would have her 3 beautiful babies.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Are you looking for a brand new adventure-based Roblox game? Can you find Claire? Has anyone heard of Claire? Is a work-in-progress exploration-based storytelling game. It'll be a multi-mapped, multi-functioning game with aspects such as first-person shooter maps, where your goal is to survive as long as you can and kill as many entities as you can. Obby maps, where you can jump across various platforms to find the secrets of the world you're in. Horror maps, where you can see the dark side of this foreign world, and many, many more. Can you find Claire?
And one more thing before we get back to the roast. This isn't exactly a sponsor spot, but it is something that I would love to ask my community to help me with. As many of you are probably aware if you spend any time on YouTube, every year around this time, Sean McLaughlin, Jacksepticeye, does his Thankmas stream. And I will be linking his Tiltify link for his charity this year. And I would encourage you all, even if it's only $1, to donate if you can. Every little bit does help. And I appreciate so much that the community comes together to help Sean with the stream every year. And I would love to see some of our family members here at Press Start Productions going and contributing to that cause already. So if you haven't already, and you have a spare $1, please follow the link in the description below and go to the Tiltify website and donate for what is truly an amazing cause. Sean has built something truly special here, and I am so grateful that we get to be a part of that as well. Let's get back to the roast.
It's hard to do like a Comedy Central style roast of this man when he's just like, when the shit he does is just so vile.
Now that we're talking about roasts and things, my brain for some reason went to South Park. He looks like Mackie in that drug episode where he actually has a normal-sized head. Like, legit, he looks like Mr. Mackey. Good.
He totally does.
Right.
the way he wore those stupid fucking glasses in court, too, like, that's the exact same thing that Casey Anthony did and that's the same thing that Jodi Arias did when she was on trial.
The thing that like really gets me about these ones that kind of come into the public consciousness, because people are convicted of murder every day and we don't talk about them. But you come to a point where there's just certain people that are so obnoxiously, horribly evil and are so oblivious to how obvious it is that they are a piece of shit that it's like you can't help but talk about it. And Chris Watts is definitely one of those people where it's like, I don't understand how you think that you're a good person. I don't understand how you can sit in a courtroom and say anything other than, I'm a piece of shit. I killed my wife. I killed my daughters. I killed my unborn son. I'm a piece of shit. He screams narcissist to me. The amount of people that flock to social media to talk about, oh, but he's so cute, he can't have done anything horrible. I'm sorry? Every single horrible monster that ever has existed in the world has had at least one person who said that they love them. Like, hey, Hitler had Eva Braun. You know, everybody who's a horrible, hideous monster has had someone in their corner saying, I love you. Yeah. And
the Night Stalker got married in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richie got married.
Yeah, that's great. Jake, you need to say more.
Chris Watts, piece of shit. I think if he had just admitted that he was, like, cheating on his wife and that he had fucked up and that he wanted to get out of the marriage, that's where he could have maintained some level of respect. Sure, you are a piece of shit, horrible person, but, like, you didn't annihilate your family.
True.
There were so many pit stops along the way of the path that he took where he could have absolutely come to a fork in the road and gone a different path, and he chose not to do that, which is why I have no sympathy. As somebody who, you know, hi, I'm a single mom, I've been through the divorce route, like, I get that. I understand, you know, sometimes we realize we're not with the right person, but there are so many steps along the way that don't end the way that it did for him. And there are so many ways that he could have changed this narrative. And like I said, he could be right now with this woman that he supposedly loved, you know, and at the end of the day, he made a choice. And whether it was a snap decision in the moment as far as the actual annihilation of his family, he made a choice every day that he stayed when he knew he didn't want to.
It's like Chris Watts had one of, you remember those Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes.
It's like Chris Watts had that book out in front of him, and he could flip to every page and see every possible ending to his story, and he decided to throw the book out and write a way worse ending to the story.
He just lit that book on fire. And the problem is, unlike a Choose Your Own Adventure book, when you choose the worst ending, you don't get to flip back through the pages and try again, homeboy. Because this happened in 2018, that Nico would be 5 years old.
Like a whole community devastated.
Yeah.
And a nation shocked because you weren't man enough to face the fucking music.
Right. You were too afraid of your wife to just walk away because she was smarter than you, kinder than you. She had an opinion and she was willing to express it. You were too much of a pussy to just divorce your wife. He tried to take the easy way out, which ended up being the worst possible path. It's never the easy way out in a relationship to avoid what you want out of the relationship. If you're done, say you're done. It's not going to get better if you just dodge it, if you're not willing to go to therapy, if you're not willing to try, and if you're not willing to go to therapy, my dude, you've decided your marriage is over. Then end your marriage. Not by ending her life, you end the marriage. It's a hell of a lot easier to get a divorce. It ain't fun. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of fighting. It's a lot of mediation and bullshit. But it's a hell of a lot easier than planning funerals and going to prison for the rest of your life. Perfect analogy, Jake, with the choose your own adventure, because there's so many other things he could have done.
Yeah.
They should pull an O.J. Simpson If I Did It, and the family should sue for the copyright rights to that book.
Mm-hmm. But I love that now they're writing into sentencing, if you write a book or if you make any money, it goes to the families. I fucking love that. But no, instead of If I Did It, her book probably should have been called 10 Ways to Get Him to Leave His Wife in a Ditch. So many different ways that this could have gone.
Rod in hell, Chris Watts. Have fun being the measuring stick for how big of a piece of shit someone is in the future.
Yeah. Right.
At the end of the day, there's always a better way. It's just, there was absolutely no reason for this at all. In any conceivable universe, there was always a better way. Final thoughts on Chris Watts, Miss Frankie Mermaid?
He should die.
And he will one day, and it will be in prison.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So, Frankie, how do you think he should die?
I think it should be remember that guy, Rex McElroy, right? That guy who, the entire town murdered him. Everybody saw it, but nobody said anything.
Point and laugh.
Because he was such a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should be killed by, everybody there. And then, everybody should just be oh, I didn't see him. And then, everybody should be, stepping on him, too, and, calling him a fucking piece of shit. Oh, I didn't see him. I didn't see who killed him.
See anything. I forgot to put my glasses on that day.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Jake, what do you think?
I think he should be hunted for sport on live TV.
Oh, see, that's pretty good.
That is a good one.
Put it on pay-per-view and have all the money go to Shanann's family.
Oh, that's a great idea. I wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah.
Okay, my solution.
An
hour in a room with Shanann's dad.
Oh, that
I don't even need to see that one. Just
yeah,
alone in a room for an hour with Shanann's dad.
Yep. I love that. That's a really good idea.
So there you have it. Our thoughts on Chris Watts. Like I said, this is the first one, so it's a little rough, and the formatting of this may change as we go along, but I do have to say thank you to all of you for your continued support of the channel and the new people that have found us along the way. I've really enjoyed engaging with you guys in the comments and sharing our opinions back and forth on this case. Because if anything is true about this case, it is one that has continued to captivate the entire country. And I want to give a special thank you to Pam Sheehan for pointing out that we did have one fact wrong. It happens when you read 2,000 pages of discovery. Sometimes the facts do get a little bit muddied. Shanann had visited her family in North Carolina, but on the night of her death, she was actually returning from a Thrive convention, and the car that you see pulling out of the driveway and waiting until she walked into the door is actually our hero, Miss Nicole. So thank you, Pam, for pointing out that detail. I did go back and look, and you are 100% right. And that's why I appreciate all of you for commenting and sharing your thoughts as well, because nobody's opinion is ever wrong. No matter what you think about this case, you're entitled to feel how you feel. And I appreciate that you guys took the time to watch our video and I hope that you'll join us for the next one. I will probably post a poll in the community tab on the channel with a few names that we're considering for the next video, so feel free to vote on that when you see it. And if you have any other suggestions for people you'd like us to cover, absolutely let us know. Once again, thank you all so much for your support of this video and of the channel in general. And a very special shout out, as always, to our patron, Stop Propaganda. Until next time, have a good night.